Book one is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a family lawyer, CPA, and of course, an author too, and the author of the book, The Forensic Accounting Dashbook. None other than Mr. Miles Mason Sr.
Great to be
Well,
here.
welcome, Mr. Miles. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
I started out as an accountant, went back to law school, kept for the last 30 something years my certified public accountant license. I don't use it except for when I'm writing or speaking. And I've practiced family law for over 30 years. I have my own firm, and I've built that firm over the last 30 years. I've got a great team, a very successful practice, and I really enjoy talking about divorce trial practice, forensic accounting, and expert witness testimony, including business valuation experts.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Miles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And today, let's talk about your book. Tell us what it's all about.
Okay, so the American Bar Association Family Law Section uh, fed me some single malt whiskey and asked me to write this book. Uh, Without the whiskey, I'm not sure I would have agreed to write it. It took me about a year and a half,
Okay.
45 minutes to an hour a night. It was a lot of work. And what I tried to do was cover, and what I was told to do was draft a translation for family lawyers, what the expert witnesses, forensic accountants mainly, talk about and what they do so that a family lawyer could pick up the book and learn everything that they needed to know about financial documents, investigation for hiding money, and other ways to manage and work with expert witnesses.
Interesting, Mr. Miles. What was the critical gap in the resources available to a family lawyer that the first edition failed, and what compelled you to create this new updated second edition?
Well, that's a great question. There really, for the lawyers, there wasn't anything like this. There were some publications about how to read a tax return, how to do this, how to do that. The forensic accounting world and business valuation world had a few resources, but they were actually very, very thin. So, for some reason, I don't know why I thought it was a good idea in the early 2000s, and I mean really early 2000s, to start speaking on this topic. Primarily because I'm a certified public accountant, I had some knowledge of how we would put together a divorce trial using forensic accounting testimony. So I began teaching that. And in 2009, I got asked to write the book. It took me a year and a half to write, another 6 months to work through the editing process, and it got published in 2011. And it was the first of its kind. And it sold really, really well, still sells well because many of the top family lawyers will buy them for the young attorneys in their firm to educate them about the financial aspects of divorce, especially when many of those folks have a political science degree or an English degree or a Western civilization degree and have very little knowledge about how money, finance, tax returns, and financial statements come about in the real world.
Interesting, Mr. Miles. And your book is a practical guide. How do you translate the complex technical world of a forensic accounting into actionable intelligence that family lawyer who may not have a financial background can use effectively in court.
Yes. And outside of court to help get cases settled. For example, we discussed stock options. So if a spouse is married to a corporate executive that has stock options, well, they could be worth quite a bit, even though at that moment the corporate executive may claim that the stock options are worthless. Rarely is that a case. In reality, they're worth something, or the corporate executive wouldn't want them. So we teach and walk through the family lawyers how to deal with that type of subterfuge.
Indeed, something good that you created, Mr. Miles. At least the single most important mindset shift a family lawyer needs to make when they are transition from thinking about marital assets to hunting for hidden assets or discovered income.
Yes, that process starts with discovery. And what the book attempts to do is take you through the entire process. What documents should you ask for in discovery? Who you should send subpoenas to. There's not that many people in family law to send subpoenas to. The volume may be there. For example, most business owners are going to have a relationship with one bank, just one. They may have multiple accounts, but it's still just one bank. They probably borrow money from that bank. They have a relationship with the banker, that sort of thing. Most people have their investments with one firm, such as Schwab or any of the other places. So that's going to be one subpoena. So these are pretty obvious places that we want to get information from third parties, but also what questions to ask at deposition and how to pay attention if a spouse in a divorce gives you everything but one page. What's on that one page, on that bank statement, the credit card statement? Is that the smoking gun? And my experience is it might just be.
Mr. Miles, tell us on foundational tools and technique. When a new divorce case lands on your desk, what is the very first financial document you scrutinize? And why does a practical document often tell the most important initial story?
Oh, that's an amazing question. I wish more people asked me about that. All right. So, normally we don't have the most important document, which is a financial statement given to a bank to borrow money. All right. It is a felony to put erroneous information in a loan application. So we may only get that later through a subpoena. Okay. What we normally start with, but not always, is comparing the business financial statements with the tax returns. Okay. There are certain adjustments that people, deductions off of tax returns, but in general, we can learn a lot comparing those two documents, especially if it's a certified public accountant knowledgeable about that industry. Let me give you an example. Let's say it's a dental practice, and the dentist claims an annual income of $3.5 million on a financial statement, but on a tax return, they only show 2 million. Well, that's a red flag right off the bat, just on gross income. Then the other expenses, do they match up? In general, most dentists should be on a cash basis, meaning they deduct all the expenses they paid for in a particular year. Now, there's some exceptions to that, I'm sure, but probably not that many. So, really, comparing the tax returns, which generally has both party signatures, both spouses' signatures on there, and the financial statements. And those two documents are almost always held by the certified public accountant for the business. Okay. So we can get that either through the business owner or a direct request from the CPA or a subpoena if the CPA is not cooperative.
Mr. Miles, can you walk us through a real world example of how a simple lifestyle analysis comparing reported income to actual spending?
Right. This happens quite a lot. What a lifestyle analysis is to create a framework for alimony. The two main components for alimony are need and ability to pay. Well, many successful and affluent business owners have an almost unlimited ability to pay relative to the party's spending. And I know that sounds a little bit odd, but there are quite a bit of people out there that make a tremendous amount of money more than they spend. Okay. And so, if under Tennessee law and in many states, the alimony award is directly related to the lifestyle enjoyed by the parties during the marriage, meaning that if the parties live frugally, then uh, the alimony award doesn't need to be high because the lifestyle wasn't as great. Now, the court can also consider the lifestyle of the obligor during the marriage. Okay. But in many cases, many courts just focus on what is the supported spouse's need. So many spouses, when they're trying to apply for alimony, will overstate what their actual need is going into the future. Our job is to calculate what the actual spending habits of both parties were during the marriage. Many couples spend a lot of money on travel. Some couples spend only a few $100s a year. It's amazing the difference between two families with the same amount of income. Even if they make good income, they may not travel that much. It's really fascinating from my perspective after 30 years of looking at parties spending. Okay, so that's what the financial analysis is on the lifestyle. Is the amount claimed by a spouse for need reflective of the actual history? And that's what helps with cross examination and presenting a point of view during negotiations.
Mr. Miles, how about the second edition must address the modern economy? What are the key sources of digital evidence that are not negotiable to investigate today?
Well, one that I have a video on my website about, and am I getting feedback on your end?
Okay, wait, just give me a minute. I'm gonna check. Uh, Mr. Miles. Totally. Wait. Okay.
Yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Go ahead, Mr. Miles. I will remove the echo while you're speaking.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, what was her question? Oh, the. All right. So one thing that's become a lot more popular since 2019, and really in the last 5 to 10 years, is the prevalence of cryptocurrency. And I've got a video on my website with a forensic accountant talking about that. The interesting thing about cryptocurrency is that it's pretty easy to find, in that money going into a cryptocurrency must first go into what's called a wallet, which means there's needs to be a transfer between bank accounts. And once you have numbers on a bank account, to track and trace, it becomes pretty easy at that point. Okay. So, in order to hide money, somebody would have to create an account that nobody else can find, and that could be offshore. But you still have to funnel money offshore to that account in order to put it into cryptocurrency. So, as forensic accountants, know very well you got to keep up with what the trends are and know what to look for. And a lot of times we talk about that at conferences on updates. And that's pretty fascinating. The current topic among forensic accountants and business valuation experts is the use of artificial intelligence. And that's 80% of the discussion out there these days. And I try to keep up with it by watching and attending those conferences.
Mr. Miles, this is a classic place to hide income. What is the most sophisticated techniques you have seen a business owner use to suppress the income, and what is the forensic smoking gun to look for?
All right, the smoking gun is very simple. What I call uh, the Holy Grail, which is a financial statement given to a bank. A tax return gives individuals an actual incentive to lie about their income, to lower their reported income to the IRS. Financial statements in general, you want to include as much income and as much profit as possible so that you can qualify for lower interest rate loans. Okay. So the smoking gun, if there is a smoking gun in many cases, if it's going to be a very sophisticated scheme, and I mean by somebody who really knows numbers, they're going to adjust accounts a little here, a little there, underreport income on this place, underreport income in that place, and then overreport expenses, manipulating the financial statements a little bit here and a little bit there. And most of the time, they're going to end up with losing money on paper, but they're not actually losing money. They're just losing money prior to the divorce to get the spouse to believe everything is going to pot. And we call that sudden income deficit syndrome, or SIDS, that many business owners who are hiding money go out of their way to try to hide that money in plain sight. Now, another way to do it, and it can be very efficient, is to just take cash, remove cash from the business. And you'll see this mostly with contractors, especially uh, uh, not sometimes general contractors have to pay subcontractors in cash. All right. We do have a very large cash economy in America. Many have estimated that up to 1/3 of all the gross domestic product, the GDP in America, is off book through cash. All right. So if you've got a bunch of cash, there's a few limited places, a few places you could put it. One is you could stick it in a safety deposit box, maybe in a bank out of state. Fine. You could try to put it in a bank in the Caribbean with what many refer to as relaxed banking laws, or you can put it in real estate and put it in the name of a company such as an LLC that nobody's ever going to research because they don't know it exists. All right. So there's many different ways. Now, the other way to do it is to put money in a trust and hide it that way, because trusts pay taxes separately from the person that donates to the trust. And that is filled out on a tax return called an 1120. And so if you want to put money into an account that creates dividends, interest, and capital gains, such as a mutual fund, we'll put it in the name of a trust, and the trust could pay the taxes, and nobody would ever be the wiser. And you'd be not committing federal income tax fraud. The Internal Revenue Service will never look at it because the 1099 from the investment will be adequately reflected on the 1120 and the taxes paid. So that's a very simple way to hide money without committing federal income tax fraud. Hello.
Mr. Miles, sorry for that. As a family lawyer, CPA, an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Well, I've had a great career, and now I've got to wind it up over the next 8 to 10 years. Okay. Maybe a
Yes.
little bit longer. My plan is to continue to work and then either sell my practice or dissolve it and maybe work for another attorney as a consultant. I get calls from around the country because I wrote this book. People want my opinion and advice on a consulting basis on how to find money and or how to work with a forensic accountant while opposing a forensic accountant. Because I wrote the book, I get those calls. I'll probably still get those calls after I wind down my law practice. And then the goal becomes very simple: uh, work on cases that are very interesting only, and make sure that my wife gets to visit with her grandchildren. And if I do that, the last part of my life will be successful.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Miles, and looking forward for more success. I hope you will be my regular guest on Law 101 and let's empower people all over the world through your knowledge and wisdom. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I'm one of those that believes that work life balance is not all that it's cracked up to be. I worked very hard as a young lawyer to build a practice. I built the practice. I worked hard as a young man to get my family here, namely alive, and raise them. Got them out of college now. They're doing great on their own. And
Mm-hmm.
then building a life is something that is an adventure. The responsibility that you accept in life is its own adventure. And I've had a lot of adventure representing people, helping them make sure that they get the money that they deserve through negotiation and forensic accounting, yes. And that's been very, very rewarding. Okay. And it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do, in my humble opinion, if you do that with grace and intention and pride, you can take from your career everything that you need to take from it and build a life and build your family all at the same time, even though it's hard. It's all hard. And there's nothing I can do or say that's a 1 minute uh, uh, quick tip other than accept that it's hard.
Yes, definitely. It's hard, but you need to do it because for the sake of the family.
Well,
Right.
yeah, it's a responsibility, no question, but
Yes.
it's a responsibility that should be chosen voluntarily.
Mm. Indeed, Mr. Miles. And thank you for that advice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Absolutely. One that I still work on, I read 20 years ago, is E
Yes.
Myth by E Myth
Yes.
Revisited by Michael Gerber. And so I work on that every day. The book explains business problems common to all small businesses. And my law firm is a small business. So, what we have to do is document our training and create as much training material for our paralegals and lawyers as possible that will help them advance their professional careers and be better every day at practicing family law.
Well, thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Miles. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my Bible Verses 101 in first season, as well as my Law 101 and Mental Health 101, Book 101 review in fifth season, Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well, Geography 101 and Movie 101 review and music are in fourth season, and my Science and Sex 101 in its second season. And please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Oh, Mr. Miles, tell us, in your experience, what is the most frequent and costly mistake family lawyers make in the initial stages of a financial investigations that your textbook is designed to prevent?
Number one is very simple. In all civil litigation, lawyers can issue what's called interrogatories. These are a set of written questions that must be answered subject to the criminal penalty of perjury. And many times, under the heading of I'm trying to save money, lawyers won't issue them. My opinion is that there needs to be interrogatories because answering the interrogatories provides both parties with the information and documents that they need to draft a settlement. And the difference between exchanging them without this formal procedure and the cost of just sharing the documents isn't enough to worry about. And the party, the spouse that doesn't have as much information, benefits and can rely on the fact that the answers to the interrogatories are under oath and that their spouse had to lie and commit perjury in order to defraud them. Very simple task. There's rarely an interrogatory question that's all that difficult to answer for one reason or another. But at the end of the day, it gets cases settled more quickly.
Well, Mr. Miles Mason, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I've got the book and I've got my practice, and that's it. No side hustles.
Not
Fam-
side hustle.
family law is my only hustle.
Yes. And please do come over, Mr. Miles, on Law 101 and let's talk about more your knowledge about law if you're interested.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yes, more to come, people. See you soon.